Very well. Hey, Mike, would you state your name and where you work just real fast? Just so I can...
Yes, I am Michael Sullivan, and I work at Michael Sullivan and Associates in El Segundo.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me back on the T.O.A. Storytellers podcast.
Right on.
I feel a little out of water because I'm actually at your facility on your equipment this time. And
Yeah, that's weird.
It's a pleasure just for me to walk right in and sit down and it's rolling. So thanks
Yeah.
to Michael Bell over there.
Well, Mike Bell's been the hero of all the stuff we've been doing with the coronavirus stuff, and
Yes.
so
Yes.
he's even here in here today in person.
So in the
making
olden
this happen.
days, it's awesome.
Mm.
I can't remember when it was, but I was in here maybe 6 months ago, and today we're socially distanced and we're, abiding by all that stuff nowadays with the new rules. But how has it been going for you personally and for the firm, in the last 6, 8 weeks since all this went down?
Well, it's been a bit of an adventure.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Like everybody else, I mean, we had 2 days to get the entire firm, and it's almost 200 people working from home.
Mhm.
We had planned for it the week before. We had 6 hours to get out of our office in Emeryville.
So it's probably like the second or third week of March, right? Somewhere in there, mid-March-ish.
Yeah, it was that week in March where it's like all of a sudden it's staying home.
Yeah.
And so, it's been weird and sad, but we've been doing well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I imagine you guys have put together this amazing resource that I had a sneak peek at earlier this week. So tell me about like the origins of this and what it is even that we're looking at.
Well, we have that Sullivan of Comp publication, right?
Yes.
And so we do a lot of education. We already do webinars every quarter on significant things that happen, and then we have a monthly update. And we have red alerts, emails we send out to everybody when something significant happens.
Right.
We've had more red alert emails this month than we have in the last 3 years.
What's an example of a red alert?
Sending one today.
Yeah.
Because the governor just issued a proclamation, what do they call
Executive order?
Executive order, yeah. Making a presumption, rebuttable presumption in favor of essential workers that get COVID having it be industrial. So, it's just another example. I think there was 2 last week at least, maybe 3.
Right.
And so we're doing that, and all of a sudden, bam, here comes Corona. So I just finished my 7th webinar in maybe the last 3 weeks.
What would have been your normal pace for webinars in normal times?
Once a month. We're still doing our monthlies on top of that. But we did this after SB 863 as well.
Yeah.
We actually wrote a book and did the whole series, and we had like 2,500 people listen to each of 6 webinars at the time.
Yeah.
It's still on YouTube.
What was Michael? What were you saying about one of these that you guys were doing live that like broke the system basically?
Yeah, we actually did. It was our first one. It was employment law and workers' comp. With so many people sign up that we broke the internet and no one could hear us, and we had to go to pre-record. So it was pretty crazy. We get like at least I think it's about 1,000 people sign up for each one every week. It's around that, and that's just the people that are listening to it for the first time. People are really hungry for this information.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
So we've been trying to be the thought leaders.
It's funny too, because like so many people are like, well, I mean, you'll see on social media, they're binging on Netflix all day and stuff. Like I've been the opposite. It's like I have had to focus more on staying afloat and surviving in the last 6, 8 weeks. I'm exhausted. There's no such thing as a weekend off right now, right?
No, it was 14-hour days for weeks, for like 3 weeks in a row, Saturdays, Sundays included. I can't even imagine what it's like for you, because we're okay. We have our continuing business, right? I mean, people still need defense lawyers.
Sure.
So we're fine. But you guys had to be up here. We just stopped doing depots altogether.
Yeah, there was that first week, mid-March-ish, when like everything just fell off a cliff, right?
Yeah.
So we immediately.
Did you get the PPP?
Scrambled. I did. Yeah, actually, I did.
Saved your bacon, huh?
I just got it last week.
Okay.
So I didn't make the first round. Second round, saved my bacon.
That's a common tale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we've been able to pivot and be able to be a thought leader, as you use the term, on the remote depot side. So we immediately got up to speed on what it takes and that it's legal, that it's easy, and we can roll this out. And so it was an opportunity for us to provide a solution for some depositions to still go forward. Not everyone can do them that way. It doesn't work for every applicant, in other words.
Or doctor.
But
I wonder, what is the number of depots you do per week now as compared to before the coronavirus?
About half.
How can you survive with that business model? Well, your corporate is all independent contractors, right?
Yeah, they are.
Even after AB5?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow,
yeah,
gutsy.
We're fighting that still. We are going for an exemption still in SB 900.
That's what they want too.
Sponsored by Jerry Hill.
A lot of people are. I mean, it's not just the employers that are unhappy about that.
Yeah.
The employees want it too.
I think there's good cause for AB5 and the dynamic system to have come about. There were some abuses of the system, but court reporters were not one of them.
I don't really see that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really agree with AB5, my personal opinion, but
Yeah.
What that $2.50 gets you a cup of coffee. So I mean, a lot of I know a lot of employees. I bet a lot of your court reporters don't want to be employees.
Zero.
Yeah, zero. Yeah.
Almost zero.
Right. So
there we are. So how can we survive on half the number? Well, I mean, it's not great. We haven't had to lay off anybody. The PPP is going to float us the 2.5 month kind of thing, and we'll get by on that.
Were you able to count those court reporters as employees for purposes of submitting a payroll analysis?
No, and I didn't want to go there.
Didn't really help you too much then.
Yeah. So it's just the W-2 side that I was able to.
We don't have much of a W-2 side though.
Well, I got 10 employees. So
okay, that's something.
Yeah, that's something. So we're a small company, but we are.
Well, I guess if the court reporters are independent contractors, it's not as bad as some other employers, because if they're not working, they're not getting paid either.
Yeah.
So so it's like it's just less profit, but it's not overhead that you lose the overhead along with the fee.
Yeah, exactly right. And I was able to make some arrangements with, I have a couple of mortgages on some buildings that I occupy. So they were good to help with some deferments and stuff like that. So that's all good. That combined, we're going to make it. We're going to survive and actually thrive, because now even after all this is done, I think remote depots will be a viable tool for some cases. Do you agree with that? Going forward, even after all this?
They probably always have been. I mean, my philosophy, and I haven't practiced law in a few years, okay? I've just been running this place.
Yeah.
But my philosophy was always about discovery, and not every lawyer agrees with this, but it was very depot centered. I felt like you won the case or lost the case at the depot. So I would investigate the case, get the records, really be prepared, have all the information and leverage I could, and then take a very aggressive, thorough deposition. And if it was like a denied case, for example, I would destroy the applicant in the depot. That's what I would do.
Wow.
Yeah. And when I was done, the case was freaking over, because if you didn't win it at the depot, you're not going to win it. Right. So but in accepted cases, of course, it's different issues. You try and win those issues in the depot. It's a lot, you can't always do it. Sometimes it's medical. But to me, the depot has always been like I did a seminar for the attorneys here once. I called it the crown jewel of discovery. I believe that after doing 1,000 of them.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm sure.
And I've settled 50 cases for $0 in deposition.
Wow.
Right. Just by being mean. That was when I was young and I had a lot of energy. But
mean.
Yeah, I was really mean. But so I mean, I don't like the idea of a depot done remotely.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's all about there's a relationship event that's happening.
Yeah. Body language in a room, not just on a screen.
Yes.
Totally understand.
And the ability to settle on the spot.
Yeah.
Or you could do it, I guess, virtually, but it's just not the same. It's like marketing, I mean, salespeople always tell you face to face is the best. Yeah. And there is something distinctive about that, distinctively useful about that. But like there's no way around it. The cost savings are the cost savings, and so there's always value in looking for that level of distinctiveness in everything that you do, right?
Not in all of them, but maybe some you would cherry pick and do it in person still and try.
And some people don't think the depots, they don't agree with my philosophy, even in my own firm. I argue with some of my partners about it.
Really? Like they'll happily take one.
Well, it's not worth the expense. All it does is give the applicant's attorney a chance to add on body parts. And in a simple accepted case, they may be right. I mean, every case should be looked at judiciously when it comes to forming a discovery plan.
Yeah. Well, we've been fortunate though. Some people have gone, about half have been going forward still. Hundreds have converted over from where they were on calendar as in person, and they've turned over into Zooms. And so we're grateful for that.
Yeah, we're getting used to it too.
Yeah. So
it's weird.
Strange world.
Yeah, they should sell tickets.
Hey, so in the last 10 days, was it, that you guys have created this amazing resource on your website?
I didn't talk about that. It was crazy. We launched it last week, actually, so it's been live for, I think.
So it's called
20th or something like that.
Navigating COVID-19, a legal guide for California employers.
Yeah, it's awesome. It is absolutely
It's very
awesome.
deep. It's not just some like freebie clickbait giveaway kind of thing.
Yeah, you got to understand what a Herculean effort this was, because we had two employment lawyers, our managing partner and another lawyer, and we had me and I co-author of Sullivan of Comp doing the workers' comp, and our immigration lawyer.
Yep.
I was editing the whole thing. In the meantime, and if you printed this out, it'd be about 200 pages.
Whoa.
And then we're not going to print it out. It's going to remain live and always like updating it every day and stuff.
Yeah,
that
I
happens,
saw that.
Right. So Mike Bell here, he was amazing. He put together the whole wiki platform for writing it based on our he runs Sullivan of Comp here.
Mm-hmm.
And he and his team, the marketing team here did the graphics, and we had outside vendors. Beautiful. And there was this round the clock effort for maybe 10, 12 days to create this thing. And it answers every question that you could come up with if you're an employer about COVID. I mean, both from the employment law side and the workers' comp side. It goes really, really deep.
And this took 10 days. I mean, you guys have done this in 10 days. Normally, this would have been a 6-month project.
Yeah, it would have been. But luckily, I mean, we already had the experience base from Sullivan of Comp that helped us, reason through and do the thinking.
Whose brainstorm was this? You hatched this in the middle of the night one night?
Mike said we should do a book.
We should do an ebook about I saw his answering face. All the questions, like a FAQ.
I saw his face when he suggested it, because he knew that once he said it, I was going to latch onto it, and his life was going to be a living hell for 2 weeks. But he said it anyway, so he's got no one to blame but himself.
Wow.
So Mike's been my partner in crime for a couple of decades. We've been friends a long time, and he was the guy who developed Sullivan of Comp with me from scratch.
Amazing.
Yeah, he is an amazing guy.
How would people go see this right now? How would they visit it?
It ain't hard. We sent it to over 10,000 people.
Okay, so open your email box.
It's on our website. Under the COVID-19, we have one of our main tabs now is COVID-19.
Right.
It has all the resources, the webinars, the blogs, everything that we have to help our clients and other employers manage this. So you can go there. And the thing about it is like it's like always up to date, right? So people might be able to see this, you said?
Yeah, let's click through some of the screens.
So let me show it to you. I'm so proud of this thing.
It's amazing.
And I'm really hopeful that it is helpful. I think it will be. But you see our table of contents here, and in our introduction, my brother Bart, who's second in command of the firm here, wrote this. It's
State of California.
So what you do is you just click through, and it has content, and it has links. So it's all
right.
Yeah. So and
it's crazy deep. I was picturing like really, a couple pages. It's literally you could dive really deeply or just skim and get some good information as well.
That's right. So here's the introduction. So relations about the authors, and here's all of us.
Yeah.
Aren't we pretty?
Yes.
Yeah, we're so pretty. It's our immigration lawyer and Sherlock. Boy, he is looking really young in that picture. He is so much older than that. So we have all this stuff in the beginning, and then we have.
Hey, so a lot of viewers, a lot of listeners might think of you just as workers' comp defense, but there's also you guys have an employment and an immigration arms now. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And civil side.
Mm-hmm.
How long has that been?
It depends
growing?
On the section. Civil's been a few years now. Employment law 2 or 3 years. Immigration just started last year.
Okay.
But we're steadily, growing it. We're even looks like we're wills and trust sections developing here in the firm as well too.
Why not?
And so awesome. We want to be. I think we have become a full service firm for employers, with the possible exception of business litigation. But we can't stop growing. We just are always doing different stuff.
Yeah. You're either growing or you're shrinking. Nobody's staying the same, right?
Yeah.
So the thought process behind this was let's provide this incredible resource. It kind of grew into like a giant website. Actually, it's very deep.
Cool. So there's employment and labor law,
and it's free, right?
Yeah. It's meant to just be there for everybody in the industry. Employment and labor law. So you got all the safety order stuff and the leaves and the sick extensions of sick leave, the FMLA expansion, the Response Act, and the emergency funding, and then return to work consideration. We just added this chapter yesterday or the day before. Return to work.
Yeah, click on that and then see what it's.
Because people are starting to come back to work, and what is going to be.
What are the considerations and what are the liabilities?
And here they are. I mean, it's a really thorough thought process. I mean,
Wow.
you have to get into it and get specific for any specific bit, but we link it to,
Government
the
resources.
web resources, and it's just so complete,
It
so
is
thought
complete. I
through.
even noticed in the workers' comp section, there's a thing for remote depots in there, and I'm like,
There is,
yeah,
yeah.
and you had the governors, I mean, you had the judicial councils.
Yeah. Well, here's workers' comp, and I was most heavily involved in the writing on this
Right.
part because
That makes
I'm
sense.
not really an expert in employment law. But there's a section on remote depots, remote treatment, QMEs, and of course we just updated it today on the
Right.
work-related section to include the
And
the
how
governor's
much work
order.
it's got to be to see the news or daily update this thing, as things change out there, to keep this thing up to date.
Well, it's not the work of one person. There's a
Yeah.
team,
Yeah.
and there's someone on point in every area, and then in the administrative area as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's taken over the lives of a few people, for the most part. And we were really tired. It's like 14-hour days,
Yeah.
15-hour days
Yeah, I'll bet.
for. And before that, we are trying to get the PPP funding. So, and
Mhm.
getting in the first round it was like that for weeks, almost a month. It's just like
Yeah.
nonstop.
How
And
did
the
it go?
adrenaline level's really high.
Uh-huh.
And you're at home, and it's weird and scary.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're not special. Everybody's going through this, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that was our version of the experience.
It
Is
goes to show
trying
you
to
that
be
it's
proactive.
really important to have good banker relationships, even during good times, or maybe especially during good times, so that when something like this happens, you can have a.
I heard a quote from Mark Twain. He said, "A banker is a fellow that lends you his umbrella and wants it back when it starts to rain."
That's funny. So,
But yeah, I mean, we have really, really good accountants and bankers
yeah.
that we developed over the years.
Round 2 of the PPP, did it go your way?
We didn't need it. We got it in round 1.
Oh, perfect. Good. A couple weeks ago.
It really, and it's been extremely helpful. It secured us.
Get you some sleep at night a little bit. Me too. Yeah, I'll be honest.
Yeah, it's a scary time for
I
a
had
lot of
lines
people.
of credit that I was willing to tackle into, and I had stopped paying myself. And I'm willing to work for free, but there's only a certain amount of that I'll be willing to pay to go to work. I can only do that for so long. In other words, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
God.
business owners, we do well, so there's no feeling sorry for us. But there's just nothing between us and the market reality.
Yeah.
It's not like being an employee. It's different.
Yeah, it is.
So, and if it's what you want, you can be proud of yourself if you succeed, I think, and there's some merit to it. But it can be pretty scary, and you feel responsible. Honestly, what I felt the most was responsibility towards the people that work here and my family.
Yep.
I mean,
sorry. Exactly right.
No one's going to starve to death, but it's like, geez, I really feel responsible. I got to be really. So this is that impetus, I think, resulted in all this frantic work to become.
I told my crew that you remember, like maybe 10 or 15 years ago, that there was those Chilean miners that got trapped in the mine, right? And I don't know, 45 days there, they actually got out, right? And so then they were doing the talk show circuit or the interview circuit, and one of them said something interesting. He said every day he'd be down in the mine, and it was pitch black, and it was like 95 degrees or 100 degrees, but he was a runner in real life, so he would still do his runs, his 6-mile runs through these caverns, and the interviewer was asking, why did you run while you're in this cave? He said, well, because I wanted to wake up every day and show God that I still wanted to live. And that was his way of doing it. And this was your way of showing God that you want the firm to live. Is that true?
Well,
something like that?
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to probably leave God out of it for this one.
Okay.
But that's a whole different thing. But
I know.
This was our way of showing the industry that they had someone ready to lead.
Yeah, a thought leader. You've said that earlier today.
That's what we want to
thought
be.
leadership.
I think we have become that.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I've noticed about you, and how much of this do you think is true, is that you guys also have Sullivan on Comp as a thought leader. That is like what it's the treatise. It's like the #1 go-to treatise for all comp turned into, And now you've turned the corner and pivoted and become a thought leader on this COVID-19 return to work and all its parameters. How much of your success would you attribute to like these kinds of things, these resources?
A lot. I think we were maybe 15, 18 lawyers when we published Sullivan of Comp in 2011. Now we're I think last count was 82, maybe more.
And you attribute a lot of that growth to
well, look,
this resource?
Lawyers are advocates, but most of the time what we are is consultants. We analyze and advise, and then we negotiate. And so you really better know this stuff,
right?
Because that's why you have a job. You know, it's because you know something, and you can think through the situations in this particular area of thought. So,
right.
I mean, thinking it through correctly and having that ability, having that resource is really invaluable. It's done a hell of a lot for us.
Right. Well, once again, I think you guys have risen to the occasion and come up with something very unique.
Thanks.
I'm on the mailing list of a lot of people, and I've seen like somebody will send out their newsletter with some tips or about employment and all this stuff. But you guys have taken it to the nth level, created this guide.
Yeah, we have a lot of energy.
So just go to SullivanAttorneys.com.
Actually, I'm kind of tired now. You tired? Mark looks tired.
Well, the guide is done. The PP money's here, and so now you can take a nap.
No, I'm afraid not. Now
okay,
we're consulting deeply with our existing client base on how to handle this emerging COVID, claims plague.
Yes.
And so we want to be ready for that and be in close communication with our clients. And of course, the managing the reality of an environment like we're in now is challenging because people don't naturally do this. I mean, it's too isolating. So we have to make people find ways to help our people deal with the psychological realities of this. And so there's still a very intense adrenaline driven pace. I think it's just going to be this way for a while, but after a while it just becomes normal.
Yeah, the 14-hour days,
well, I'm down to like 10 or 12 now.
There's no such thing as weekends.
No, I didn't work on Saturday.
You didn't?
I worked on Sunday, but not Saturday. So that's pretty good.
That is good.
Besides, what else is there to do?
You need it.
What else is there to do?
I know.
Nothing else to do but work, really.
Yeah. Well, and you poured yourself into this creative resource here that's so helpful. I think will help a lot of people. And
I appreciate the kind words.
Yeah, and I also think there's something to it. You wouldn't use the God word, but how about this? When you create something and throw it out there to the universe like this for free, I think something good happens back that is probably multifold of whatever you put out there.
Well, I'm not reluctant to discuss things that my belief system, but the thing about it is I was a philosophy major, so I'm stopping myself for your sake.
Well,
because I'll never stop. I'll talk about life and its meaning endlessly.
I watched a few episodes of you and your daughter and the daughter's friend.
Oh yeah,
talking about
the Christianity videos.
Christianity videos.
Yeah, we did. I just have had an abiding interest in theology generally.
Yeah.
Throughout my lifetime, and we did an exploration of what we know and don't know about the origins of Christianity from a historical, critical perspective. Just like if we looked at it from the viewpoint of just a pure historian, not through the eyes of faith, right?
Yeah.
And it was really interesting. It was really. We did end up with like six.
I thought two or three of them I watched.
Yeah. People usually get through like 3 or 4 and then they give up.
I didn't give up. I got distracted by my life.
They get distracted. It's not I mean, I didn't do it to make money. I didn't do it for any particular audience.
Yeah.
I did it because I was internally motivated. I was curious.
Yeah.
And I liked doing it with my daughter because I could see that her thought process was not as evolved as I would have liked it to have been. I don't really necessarily care what her belief system is, but I want it to be authentic and I want it to have some depth.
Thought through.
I don't want her to just be shallow and stupid, right?
Yeah, no, she's sharp. I can tell.
She's a sharp cookie, but she wasn't thinking deeply about these issues, and she was by the time.
I think that age group probably is not. Well,
they're idiots. They don't have
the default setting is not to think.
They don't have fully developed frontal cortexes still. They're just idiots. I was an idiot when I was 21. So were you. I mean, that's our job.
I'm 31. And
that's their job. So. Yeah, I always say, where's the knuckleheads? Where are you in the knuckleheads? I talk about our friends because they do stupid stuff.
These adorable knuckleheads of ours.
What was the quote I heard? If you do stupid things when you're young, you'll live to regret it. And if you don't do stupid things when you're young, you'll learn to regret it.
I think I agree with that.
It's not sexy in your 40s, I'll tell you that for free.
It's not sexy in your 40s.
It's just not.
Oh man. Well, I think that you have been able to manage the best that probably anybody could through all this. And you have, how has this changed you, do you think, coming out of this? You personally?
Well, well, that's kind of personal, but I'll speak to it, I guess. I mean, it's like, I think, um, for me and everybody else, there's a multiple facets to this kind of reality. One
Mm-hmm.
is, someone pointed out that what you go through is sort of a mourning, like mourning,
Mm-hmm.
sadness, because the things in your life that you had and you engaged in go away suddenly. It's like a death in a way. Not to be overly dramatic. I mean, it's not like we're in the Great Depression or World War II, right? We just have to watch more TV. So I don't get too
Let's stay
dramatic,
on the
but you
couch.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a reality, right?
Uh,
So there's that, and then so it is kind of lonely and it is kind of scary, right? So I think people feel that. I'm no exception. Um,
right.
and you have to deal with that deliberately, or you don't. You
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
The other aspect is that I was talking to my shrink this morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I see a shrink once in a while. I'm not crazy. I just try to get myself a little adjusted,
Right,
right?
that's good.
Yeah. So he's a professor at LMU and a PhD in psychology. And he was saying that there's a lot of activity surrounding um, self-care and the connection between the conscious and the unconscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
So meaning that it's sort of a time for reflection because when you're under stress and the future's uncertain, it calls into relief your fundamental orientation and thought process about how your life is and works. Your assumptions are challenged, and you are also put to the test because you have a don't know what to do with yourself, right? So you are
You've
spending a lot
never
of
been in
time
this situation.
with yourself,
Right.
right? So it causes introspection. It causes you know um, it causes hopefully some self-awareness,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
depending on the circumstances of your life and what you're trying to deal with and what you think about life in general. I think a lot of people are taking it can be a really positive thing
Mm-hmm.
if you see it as an opportunity, just like in business, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's an opportunity really when you look at it from a business perspective, and we
Yeah.
try to act accordingly. It's a good idea, I think, to try and adopt that philosophy um, in your personal life as well.
I always pegged you because from our first podcast, you kind of got into this topic too about you're very introspective back then too.
I
So
was.
now yeah, I think it maybe could have even surprised people to hear that from you, that side of stuff, maybe not knowing it.
Mm.
But so this time frame now, this COVID-19 shelter in place time has caused even more of that because your self that time for self-reflection is, I mean, there's ample time for that. It's all day long now if you want, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, guys like you. I mean, I think leaders are more busy and workers are less busy
Yeah,
because it requires a revision of your fundamental executive vision
yeah, yeah.
and then an implementation. Whereas if you're just doing work that's assigned to you, like if
Hmm.
you have then
Hmm.
that's different. That's not required of you. You get told what to do and then you're done doing it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you have more downtime without social interaction.
Yep.
So I was gonna go clubbing, but I guess I'll stay home and read a book.
It's gonna go clubbing. No, it's true because like I mean, the freedom, I miss just having the freedom to either go somewhere or not go somewhere without, you know, these concerns. But no, those days are not here
It's
or
so
gone.
weird the way life is. You just don't see it coming.
Yeah.
And it happens like every 10, 15 years. Something happens that seems to shift the ground under your feet as to how you fundamentally perceive realities. 9/11,
Hmm.
the 2008 crisis, and
Yep.
now
Now this.
this. Yeah. So it's the way, and it jars you away from the illusion that life is a certain way.
It was always an illusion that
Yeah.
the bubble that there was no bubble
Yeah.
that
But
you
you need
had
it.
some control
You
over
need
things.
it
And you
though.
had,
I mean, you do. You need to
yeah.
have one foot in order and the other in chaos to be happy. And sometimes you get pushed. Both feet are in chaos for a while, and that doesn't. You're not happy.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
On the arc of like, okay, when everything hit the fan, let's say 2 months ago, you know what I mean, mid-March-ish to today, like how do you feel like it's going? You know what I mean? Or like how far along in the journey of the total before things for you guys would kind of get back to some kind of normalcy?
Are you asking about like business practice?
Yeah, like people coming to work and sitting in
It's hard to say because
cubicles.
we don't know. We don't know how long we're going to be kept away from work, and we don't know how long it'll take to reintegrate, and we don't know if there'll be a
True.
relapse.
That's the thing. Wave two
Yeah,
is the
that could
real
happen.
unknown.
So I think the honest answer is I just don't know.
That's an honest answer.
If I
We're
had to
record.
guess, I don't think I think we'll probably won't see any, many, if any, big conferences. I
Hmm.
think we'll probably go back to work. I think businesses will be maybe keeping some people stay working at home. Things may change permanently in some ways,
Yeah.
but I think that it's hard to imagine a total return to normalcy before the end of the year and maybe even longer,
Right.
just because
Yeah.
we don't have a cure for this thing and it doesn't go away.
Yeah. It
We
doesn't.
can, to the extent we re-engage, we
Yeah.
have higher risk, but we can't not engage forever. So
If you
it's going to be
could,
an odyssey.
if there was a magic wand, you know what I mean, and things could go back to normal, would you retain any of the stuff that you guys have had to um, shift to get to today? You know what I mean? Like some of the working from home, the remote stuff. Would you keep some of that in place even then?
Oh, you mean, is there any positive changes that
That's what I mean.
resulted we may keep permanent?
Yes,
Yeah, I think
exactly.
so.
The
The work at home thing is, we have an office, so the lease is up at the end of November.
uh-huh.
We were going to buy a building. We're starting to do that.
That's
And
right. I think you're telling me that.
yeah, it's cool, but we stopped because we don't know what's going to go on with the market. I mean, it's
Mhm.
probably going to tank. It probably is tanking. And we're not going to
Mhm.
buy anything right now. And so we're looking for a place to lease. And out of 10 lawyers, I think there's something like that in that office.
Mhm.
7 of them said, yeah, I wouldn't mind if I just had a office not a personal office, but a group office. I could come in, but mostly I work at home.
Okay.
And all the legal secretaries
Said the same thing.
said rather work at home. So now we're weighing. I mean,
Interesting.
obviously we can save on office space and stuff like that, but we're weighing in our minds what kind of permanent policies we want to
Yeah.
create. And we don't know the answer yet, but there's opportunities there in terms of efficiency. There may be losses too. We got to be careful about that.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
there's apparently opportunities that may come from this.
I think it's interesting because my staff is like kind of split. Like some of them are dying to get back, and others are, hey, this and the productivity has been off the charts actually. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
My team has kicked ass.
mhm.
Even at home, and we've been doing daily Zoom meetings, and we've never been this collaborative, this connected as
Mm,
an overall team.
I
We
see.
haven't missed one weekday of a Zoom meeting. And they're half an hour, and there's no giant agenda, just what's going on. Everybody chimes in, and so like the team morale has never been higher. It's been
Yeah.
a positive.
Mm.
Have you guys been doing like high level executive Zoom kind of things to stay connected daily or weekly, things like that? How's that look like?
Well, we already had in place a systemic set of meetings. So I
Mhm.
meet with by phone the manager of every office every week, once a week,
Mhm.
and biweekly we have lengthy web Zoom meetings. We've
Right.
already had those in place.
Okay.
So we've sort of continued to just do that and
Hmm.
we've talked. But we've always been really closely knit and
Right.
with high levels of communication. Um, I don't think we changed our systemic way of talking because we kind of already had it in place. So it's been working pretty well.
So
I
that's
mean,
good.
look, we
You guys were
some of those conversations
teed up
are,
for this kind of.
yeah. Well, we've invested quite a bit in things like relationships,
Paperless.
emotional maturity,
Oh, okay.
with executive coaching and just really high functioning emotional maturity is really important. It's come out. I see it a lot in business these days.
Hmm.
Um, all those principles that go along with that, and it makes an organization and the relationships in it function really well.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you sort of train it, we went through like a 2-year course where all the
Yeah.
leadership was, once a quarter for a full day in training on this, and we worked out a lot of stuff and grew up a lot.
Wow.
We needed to. So,
So good.
and so I think that there's a resilience in this firm um, that was earned
back then.
Over time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If this had hit us 5 years ago, it would have been different.
This guide, I'm pointing at your Navigating COVID-19 Illegal Guide for California Employers guide that's now free on your website, is, I think, fruit from that kind of investment in yourself and in your executive and in the firm, to take those hard things and have a consultant come in and say, hey, Mike, you need to grow up in some of these areas. Hey, guys, these things are out of whack. Let's fix them.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think
that's how you stay around for a long time.
Well, the nice thing about being obviously stupid is that you end up fixing it.
Okay. I don't have any examples of that in my own life, of course, but I can imagine. No,
me neither.
Yeah, it's all theoretical.
There's certainly not all kinds of people in the industry that can tell you stories about me being stupid. So I'd hate that.
That's funny. No, well, I wanted to come here and I wanted to congratulate you guys on this resource specifically and to say, man, you guys are once again rising to the top.
You say the nicest things. You can come to my office
It's
anytime.
so true though, no, dude. I mean, it's like, I mean, you're not only staying alive and afloat for your clients, but you're also going the above and beyond measure and creating this thing that anybody could go do. Even your competitors can come here and they could learn and then they could educate them because you're doing something good for the whole community. Right?
I think so. I hope so.
Yeah.
I think internal motivation is really important. If you do things because you're internally motivated, nothing can stop you. If you're doing it like for alternative, I mean,
ulterior.
Yeah, if you're like trying to make money, I mean, that's good to make money, and we're all trying to make money. But you know, you take what I'm saying. It's like it has to come from the heart if it's going to have real value.
That's right.
That's my philosophy.
Nothing to do with God, but if it has to do with God, blink twice. He blinked twice.
No, don't get me wrong. I'm a God guy. Yeah, me and God, we hang out.
I know you.
Yeah.
And I know it's a journey for everyone.
Yeah.
And that relationship is very personal, but I just we don't need to get into it. But it's it's cool to hear you acknowledge that.
Yeah, well, I'm not shy about it.
On tape. It's now here.
Not everybody. Well, the problem these days with being religious is it's often connected with the idea of being stupid or closed-minded or angry, and so you almost feel you have to apologize for it. But it doesn't have to be that way.
No,
I think like the real McCoy doesn't bear much resemblance to that.
Right.
So that's this is all above my pay grade.
Plus, the real McCoy is the fruit of the tree, right? And so I'm pointing at your guide here, SullivanAttorneys.com, and that's the ebook here. It's the free. This is fruit from a good tree.
Hope so. I mean, we're really proud of it.
You should be.
I appreciate you showing it to the world in this venue.
I didn't know about it, but I got reached out to, and so I had to
come in
to talk about it to get this in people's hands. So
it's cool, man. It's really cool.
I'll put a link in the show notes too for everybody listening, so they can easily link from it.
I appreciate it. Hopefully, it helps a lot of people. Mike
Sullivan, thank you so much for coming on the T.O.A. Storytellers podcast. Okay, take care.
Thanks, Todd.
Bye. Okay, so on this.